A small town salon, a normal spring day, and then silence. At Tamber's Trim & Tan in Cumming, Georgia, 2 regular clients arrive for their noon appointments. But the front door is open. The place is deserted. Inside, the cash register is emptied. Patrice Endres' purse and keys lie on the counter. Her lunch sits untouched. Out front, her black Tahoe is parked at a strange angle, not where she always parked. She was just there. Then she wasn't. In just 13 minutes, a woman disappeared without a trace, and sparked one of Georgia's most haunting cold cases. Welcome to Bad Things. Join us as we unravel the vanishing of Patrice Endres and examine what most likely happened. Morning routine, April 15th, 2004. Patrice Endres, 38, starts her Thursday like any other. She wakes her 15-year-old son, Pistol Black, and drives him to Forsyth Central High School. Then she heads to her business, Tamber's Trim & Tan, a small salon and tanning studio she ran out of a modest building along Georgia Highway 369 in Cumming, Georgia. She opens the shop around 8:30 a.m. as usual. The first client of the day arrives shortly before 9 a.m. and notices something is off. Patrice seems distracted, the customer later recalls. But nothing alarming. The appointment proceeds, and the client leaves at 11:05 a.m. Minutes later, at 11:10 a.m., another regular walks in. He receives his haircut and leaves at approximately 11:27 a.m. As he walks out, he takes a call on his cell phone, a detail later confirmed through phone records. Nothing out of place. Not yet. The last call. At 11:35 a.m., Patrice answers a phone call from a client trying to reschedule an appointment. The call lasts about 2 minutes. The customer describes Patrice as unusually curt and brief, a departure from her normally warm, talkative demeanor. By 11:37 a.m., the line goes dead. That would be the last confirmed contact anyone has with Patrice Endres. Her next appointment is scheduled for noon, but when the next call comes in at 11:50 a.m., there's no answer. Within that narrow 13-minute window, Patrice vanishes. The crime scene. Around 12 p.m., 2 long-time customers arrive for their appointments, and immediately sense something is wrong. The salon's front door is open, but the space is empty. There's no sign of Patrice. Her purse and car keys sit on the front counter. Her lunch, a warm plate of food, rests untouched beside the microwave. The cash register drawer is open, and cash is missing. But her wallet, with more money, remains. Outside, Patrice's black Chevy Tahoe is parked strangely, out front, pulled in nose first. She always backed into the side of the building near the side door. This change is so unusual that even casual visitors notice it. Her Tahoe is in the wrong place. Alarmed, the customers call 911. Forsyth County deputies respond quickly. Inside the salon, there are no signs of a struggle, no overturned chairs, no blood, no drag marks, nothing. Sheriff Ted Paxton would later summarize it bluntly. She just vanished. That was it. She just vanished. Witness sightings, the blue car. But outside the salon, there is one lead. 2 independent witnesses driving past a business between 11:45 and 11:50 a.m. describe seeing a small blue car parked in front of Tamber's Trim & Tan. Tammy Fincher, one of the witnesses, remembers the vehicle specifically, a blue Chevy Lumina with a distinctive Georgia wildlife tag. She also saw 2 figures, a taller, dark-haired woman standing near the salon entrance, and an older-looking woman by the passenger side of the blue car. The 2 appear to be touching each other, maybe helping, maybe restraining. A second passerby, driving from the opposite direction, recalls seeing a man with shoulder-length hair standing beside what he believed to be a blue Ford Taurus. He, too, saw what looked to be a tense interaction near the salon entrance. The descriptions don't match exactly, but the core elements are consistent. A blue car, a person interacting with Patrice, and a critical sighting within the 13-minute disappearance window. When police arrive minutes later, the car is gone. So is Patrice. Initial investigation and search. That afternoon, law enforcement launches a full-scale search. Patrol officers, tracking dogs, and ATVs scour the surrounding woods and neighborhoods. Volunteers, many of them local residents, join the search. No trace is found. At Pistol's high school, a resource officer pulls him out of class. When told his mother is missing, he immediately tries calling her cell phone. She doesn't answer. "She always called me back," Pistol later said. "I knew something was not right." Patrice's husband, Rob Endres, is working that day in Woodstock, Georgia, roughly 45 minutes away. He receives the news in the early afternoon and rushes to the scene. Police interview him immediately. Rob provides time-stamped gas receipts and security badge records confirming his presence at work. Investigators later conclude that while they can't completely eliminate him, his location greatly reduces the chances he could have personally carried out the abduction. As media coverage spreads, more search crews mobilize. A local church becomes the staging site for operations. Flyers go up across town. Prayer vigils are held. Patrice's loved ones, especially Pistol, insist she would never leave voluntarily. To them, the idea that she simply walked away is unthinkable. The investigation casts a wide net, looking at Patrice's relationships, financial records, and phone logs. But nothing breaks the case open. A false lead. In the days following the disappearance, one woman comes forward claiming she saw a white van parked outside the salon near the time of the abduction. The lead seems promising. Police generate a composite sketch and begin investigating. But after intense questioning, the woman admits she made the story up. She's charged with filing a false statement. The tip had wasted valuable time and resources. As Sheriff Paxton later put it, "Unfortunately, it caused us to put a lot of work into something that turned out to be a red herring. And with no physical evidence, no DNA, no fingerprints, no body, the case grinds to a frustrating halt." The break. Remains found. The silence breaks 20 months later. On December 6, 2005, volunteers working at Lebanon Baptist Church in Dawson County notice buzzards circling the woods nearby. Curious, one of them walks into the dense forest and finds the decomposed remains of a deer. Then, something else. A human skull. Police are called. Search teams comb the area and recover most of a skeleton, scattered through the underbrush. Dental records confirm it's Patrice Endres. The location is remote, about 10 miles from the salon. Investigators note how difficult it would be to carry a body there. One possibility they suggest is that Patrice was still alive when she was taken into the woods. The theory, she may have been walked into the area before being killed. Family fallout. News of the discovery hits hard. Pistol, now a junior in high school, is again pulled out of class, this time to be told that his mother is dead. The tension between Pistol and Rob, already strained, explodes. When Patrice first went missing, Rob had changed the locks on their home within 24 hours. Pistol returned home and found himself locked out. His mother not yet declared dead, and already he was shut out. How come Rob knew she was never going to come back and immediately kick the son out of the family's home? One friend would later ask. After Patrice's body is recovered, Rob has her cremated and does not invite Pistol to participate in the process. Rob keeps her ashes at home. Pistol, left with no remains, no ceremony, and no closure, is devastated. To many around them, Rob's behavior looks suspicious. To others, it's just the emotional chaos of grief playing out badly. The missing ring. Among the skeletal remains, one item is conspicuously absent: Patrice's wedding ring. It's a distinctive piece, 2 gold bands fused together with a marquise-cut diamond. Despite public appeals and detailed descriptions, the ring has never been found. Investigators believe the ring may have been taken by the killer, either as a trophy or to be sold. Suspects and false confessions. In 2005, while Patrice was still missing, a known serial killer named Jeremy Bryan Jones confessed to the murder. He told Alabama detectives he kidnapped and killed Patrice, then dumped her body in Sweetwater Creek, an hour from the salon. He even drew a map of the salon parking lot. But after extensive searches, no evidence was found. And after investigators pressed him on specific details, Jones recanted, admitting he made the whole thing up for jailhouse perks like better meals and visitation. When Patrice's body was eventually discovered in a completely different location, his story was decisively disproven. And so, years passed. Leads dried up. Public interest waned. But for those who knew Patrice, especially her son, the case never faded. Still searching. In 2019, GBI Special Agent Kimberly Williams said publicly, "We are dedicated to solving this case." She urged anyone with information to come forward. To this day, law enforcement continues to treat the case as active. But with no arrest, no named suspect, and only scattered clues, the disappearance and murder of Patrice Endres remains, even now, unsolved. In the absence of a smoking gun, investigators and the public have put forward several competing theories about what happened to Patrice Endres during that narrow 13-minute window. Theory 1. The husband, Rob Endres. The person closest to Patrice was also the first to fall under scrutiny. Rob Endres, her husband of 7 years, was 20 years her senior. Friends and family say the marriage had soured. Pistol Black, Patrice's son, told authorities that Rob was jealous, controlling, and frequently clashed with him. Patrice, by contrast, had reportedly been considering divorce. Rob has always denied wrongdoing, but those who suspect him point to a pattern of unsettling behavior in the hours and days following her disappearance. Less than 24 hours after she went missing, Rob changed the locks on the house, effectively barring 15-year-old Pistol from re-entering his own home. "I was banging on the doors and windows, and he just ignored me," Pistol told Unsolved Mysteries years later. Critics saw this move as preemptive, as though Rob already knew Patrice would never return. Rob's actions after Patrice's remains were found also raised eyebrows. He did not invite Pistol to take part in the cremation. When the ashes were returned, Rob kept them to himself. He even admitted to asking the funeral home to reconstruct Patrice's skeleton so he could say goodbye, alone, and kissed her skull. Rob once told NBC, "I laid her remains out in front of me and had one last moment with her. I kissed her, I told her goodbye, and I told her I loved her." To some, this read as intimate, to others, deeply unsettling. He also gave speculative interviews in which he suggested Patrice's killer may have kept her as a toy for days before ending her life, a comment that struck many as disturbingly specific. Despite these actions, no physical evidence ties Rob to the crime. He was 45 minutes away in Woodstock, with gas receipts and work entry records placing him there during the abduction window. That hasn't stopped some from speculating that he could have hired someone else to do it. One popular variation of this theory imagines a third-party accomplice, someone who knew Patrice's schedule and used a ruse to lure her outside. Maybe someone in that mysterious blue car. The implication, Rob set it up, then stayed far away, ensuring he had an alibi. When confronted, Rob has pointed to his clean record, lack of life insurance motive, and his degree in criminology. "Why would I do something I'd get caught for? I studied this stuff," he once told WXIA-TV in Atlanta. Still, the theory lingers, built not on evidence but on contradiction and public perception, and on the belief that a man might go to any length rather than lose the woman he believes he owns. Theory 2. Gary Michael Hilton, the serial predator. Gary Michael Hilton was a convicted serial killer responsible for at least 4 murders between 2005 and 2008, including that of Meredith Emerson, abducted and killed in Dawson Forest, the same region where Patrice's remains were later found. Hilton targeted women in daylight, held them captive, and disposed of their bodies in remote wooded areas. Investigators also noted his strange habit of loitering around salons where he admitted to asking women for money. He liked places where women felt comfortable, one investigator said, places he could walk into without raising alarms. Hilton had previously been stopped in Forsyth County near Patrice's salon and had no confirmed alibi for April 15, 2004. It's plausible he entered the salon pretending to need help. Patrice might have stepped outside to assist, and Hilton forced her into his vehicle, a scenario that fits eyewitness reports of a blue car and a tense interaction at 11:45 a.m. Some even speculate that the older woman seen by one witness could have been Hilton himself, disheveled and mistaken from a distance. But Hilton has never confessed, and no physical evidence, no DNA, no belongings, not even Patrice's missing ring, has ever linked him to her case. He remains a possible suspect in the eyes of some investigators, but without a confession or hard proof, the connection is purely circumstantial. Theory 3. The unknown assailant, the blue car. The final theory is also the most frustrating, that Patrice was abducted by a complete stranger, a person never identified, driving a small blue car. 2 independent eyewitnesses described that vehicle parked outside the salon between 11:45 and 11:50 a.m. The exact window Patrice disappeared. One said a taller, dark-haired woman, possibly Patrice, was near the salon door. Another figure, possibly female, possibly older, stood by the passenger side of the car. Their hands were on each other in what looked like a struggle or strange embrace. Another driver saw a man with shoulder-length hair near a similar blue car. The details differ, but the timing is airtight. Under this theory, Patrice was targeted not by someone she knew, but by a passing predator. A man, or perhaps a couple, pulls in off Highway 369, asks for help, and gets her to step outside. Maybe he says he needs directions. Maybe she offers to help jump his car. The encounter escalates. A scuffle ensues. Patrice is forced into the vehicle. The car, a blue Lumina, Taurus or similar sedan, speeds off. Her SUV remains behind, parked awkwardly. Her purse, keys and lunch are left untouched. Robbery may have been a cover-up, a few dollars missing from the register while her wallet still held cash. Or maybe the killer took only what was visible and quick to grab. The location where her remains were found, secluded, overgrown woods behind a church, suggests familiarity with the area. The missing wedding ring hints at a personal motive or a trophy-taking behavior. It's possible the killer had done this before, or never again. Sheriff Ted Paxton said in 2006, "There's one person who knows what happened in those 13 minutes, and we believe they were driving that blue car." In any unsolved case, the path to clarity often starts with cutting away what doesn't hold up. Let's start with the theory that's drawn the most public suspicion: her husband, Rob Endres. Rob's behavior after Patrice's disappearance raised eyebrows immediately. He changed the locks on their home less than 24 hours after she vanished, effectively kicking 15-year-old Pistol Black out. When Patrice's remains were discovered 20 months later, Rob had her cremated without involving Pistol then kept her ashes for himself. He also admitted to reconstructing her skeletal remains alone so he could say goodbye, and publicly speculated that Patrice may have been kept alive as a toy before she was killed. Disturbing, yes, but behavior doesn't equal guilt. To believe Rob orchestrated her murder, you have to assume he hired someone to abduct his wife at exactly the right moment, during a narrow 13-minute window, while he was 45 minutes away with a documented alibi. This theory requires coordination, secrecy, a reliable accomplice, and 2 decades of silence from everyone involved. As one investigator later said, "It's not impossible, but it's a house of cards. It only stands if nobody breathes." In contrast, Gary Michael Hilton, a known serial killer, operated in Georgia around the same time. He targeted lone women in daylight, disposed of victims in remote woods, and reportedly hung around hair salons asking for money. Dawson Forest, where Patrice's remains were found, is one of his known locations. But Hilton never confessed. None of Patrice's belongings were found in his possession. He left DNA and evidence in his other crimes, but nothing links him to this one. If Hilton killed Patrice, it would be the only time he got away with it completely clean. That brings us to the theory with the fewest moving parts and the most consistent evidence: the stranger in a blue car. Multiple witnesses saw a small blue sedan, possibly a Chevy Lumina or Ford Taurus, parked outside Tamber's Trim and Tan around 11:45, the exact time Patrice disappeared. One witness, Tammy Fincher, described a tall woman near the salon entrance and an older person by the car's passenger side. The two had their hands on each other in a way that didn't look right. Another driver saw a man with shoulder-length hair standing near a similar blue car. The vehicle was never identified, but what those sightings suggest is immediacy, not planning. No hired killer, no known stalker, just someone who saw an opportunity and took it. This theory doesn't require coordination or a serial profile, just a predator in the wrong place at the right time. A stranger pulls in, asks for help, a jump start, directions, anything. Patrice steps outside, possibly moves her car to help, and then she's gone. That explains the open register, money taken quickly, the untouched purse, no time to search, the car's strange position, and a total lack of struggle. Her body was found 10 miles away in thick woods behind a rural church, a place known only to locals, hunters, or someone who had scouted the area before. Investigators noted the terrain was too steep to carry a body. One possibility is that she was walked in alive. We may never know exactly what happened in those final moments, but the missing wedding ring, never found, never pawned, could be the detail that eventually breaks the case. A trophy, perhaps, or a keepsake held by someone who didn't expect to get away with murder. The theory that Patrice was taken by a random assailant, someone passing through unconnected to her, unknown even now, requires no special access, no accomplice, and no complex motive. It just requires timing and nerve. As GBI Special Agent Kimberly Williams said in 2019, "We still believe someone out there knows something. Until that person speaks or that ring turns up, this case remains one of Georgia's most haunting reminders that even in broad daylight, it takes only a moment to disappear."